All right guys, today we're going to do a quick little recap on broadhead sharpening, so stay tuned. All right, so I've got an old Bear Grizzly Kodiak head here that is pretty dull. I've been shooting this thing into the hay bales, it's hit the dirt a couple of times and it's just lost its edge pretty much. And so what I'm going to do, and by the way, this is a single bevel head, but what I'm going to show you is going to work on single bevels or double bevel. It's not going to be the best technique for 3-blade broadheads, but we'll cover that in a future video. I'm going to be using a little diamond stone here to sharpen this thing, and then we're going to finish this off and give it a razor edge on a buffing wheel over here. Now, before I get started, I want to say that I sharpen everything freehand. I've always been good at maintaining that bevel, but if maintaining the same bevel throughout the stroke gives you any trouble at all, you're going to have trouble sharpening things freehand. And what I would suggest you do is just get some sort of jig that's going to help you to hold that same bevel. There's 1,000 different jigs out there that'll hold the blade and the honing stone at the proper angle. One of them that is pretty small and packable is made by KME, and it's just a little aluminum clamp that holds the broadhead and has a roller on the bottom. So you can take a stone like this and it clamps and holds the head at the proper angle, and you just roll that thing and it holds it at the right angle to the stone so that you're not messing your broadheads up. This little diamond stone here, I glued a piece of leather on the back of it so that I can carry this thing in the field with me when I'm hunting. I just throw this in the pack. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. And the top side here is a fairly coarse stone. You know, if you shoot into the dirt or something, you can get your edge back with this. And then the leather piece on the back here, I've got some buffing compound rubbed on there, and then I just use that as a leather strop. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, as I was talking about, the biggest, the most important thing in sharpening a blade is maintaining that constant bevel. So like I said, if you have trouble with it, just go ahead and get you a jig. Now, when you're sharpening this thing, you can see the striations, you can see what you're taking off. But if you have, at any time, if you have trouble telling where you're taking material off and where you're not, just take you a Sharpie or some other permanent marker and draw on the edge. Just cover the edge, the shiny steel with that, that marker. And then go back to your honing stone and it'll tell you, or it'll show you very clearly where you're taking material off and where you're not. So I can see right here there's a little bit of black left from that marker, and so I'm maintaining the same bevel across here, but what this black tells me is that whoever sharpened these broadheads in the past, they got their honing stone over at a little bit more severe angle right here. And so what I'm going to have to do is just take this whole edge down until I get rid of this. Otherwise, I'm going to have to change the pitch on the entire head here. I'm going to have to change the bevel on the entire head. Getting there. There we go. All right, so I got rid of that little black remnant right there. Now we'll move to the other side. So that's actually fairly sharp just the way it is, just off of that fairly coarse stone there. And it's popping a few hairs. And for most guys, that would be good enough, but it's really not that difficult to get this thing so it'll slick the hair off your arm, or just take a piece of paper and just slice a piece of paper in half with very little resistance. And we'll move over to the buffing wheel and I'll show you how to do that real quick. Now, before we get there, what you want to feel for is on the back side of this blade. If you're sharpening a single bevel, it's going to be on the back side. If you're sharpening a double bevel, it's just going to be on the opposite side of whatever you just honed. So let's say this is a double bevel, and we're sharpening on this side. If you feel the back side of that blade opposite of what you were sharpening, or the opposite of what you were sharpening, you should feel a little bit of a burr back there. We're going to take that burr off with this buffing wheel over here. So I've just got a regular old buffing wheel on here, and I'm going to turn this grinder on and put a little bit of buffing compound on there. Now, when you're working on the buffing wheel, you want to work from the middle down. You don't want to be working up here, because if you turn this broadhead the wrong way and that buffing wheel catches it, it's going to fling it back at you. But if you work from the center down, if anything catches, it's just going to shoot it down like that, and you're going to be fine. Last thing you want is a razor sharp broadhead kicking you back in the gut. Throw you a little compound on there. Now I'm going to start buffing from the side of the bevel. Just flip it over. Now we're going to take that burr off. Getting there. If you feel any burr, just go to the side that you feel it on and cut it off. There we go. So getting your broadheads super sharp before you go in the field is really not that difficult. There's 1,000 different ways to do it. This is just one. But I would highly recommend, especially if you're going to be on an extended trip in the backcountry, take you a honing stone, something like this that's going to be easy to carry. And if you've got room to put something on there, like a stropping pad like this piece of leather, go ahead and do that, because you can bring the edge back on a broadhead just by hitting it on this stropping pad. And like I said, I've got a little bit of buffing compound rubbed on this. But in a bind, if you've got a leather belt on, or even leather boots, I've even done it on a log before. Just take that thing and strop it on that wood or the leather, and it'll bring those edges back. Now, I would like to mention that just through the course of the season, taking these heads in and out of your quiver, you will knock that edge down a little bit. And so, every week or a couple of days, just take them out and strop them a little bit, and that'll really help to bring that edge back so that they're razor sharp when you do get that opportunity. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do that, because I'm uploading a new video every week. And when you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell icon, you'll actually get a notification when I upload one, so you won't miss out. And then also check out my website at twistedstave.com and sign up for the mailing list there, because along with a lot of these videos, I'll have blog posts that have additional information in them, and other resources that are linked to from that blog post. And so if you're just watching the videos and not checking out the blog, you might be missing out on some stuff, so check that out. But with that, it's hunting season, and we'll see you next time.